go up, His glory comes down.
That's the song I woke up with, and it goes and comes back.
It's one of those songs that were one of my very first, Christian songs. It used to really move me. It reminds me of a season. If you have those kind of songs that kind of remind you of a certain season, it reminds me of a beautiful season with the Holy Spirit. So, yeah, man, we honor God. Hello and welcome to the Tim's Ministry webisodes. We want to thank you so much for watching, and if this is your first time, we would like to welcome you to this YouTube channel, which really is an extension of a book called This Is My Story, which was written by Cebisa Mtsi. And in this book, she gives us an understanding of the life that she grew up in, and there is just a lot of wisdom nuggets in that particular book. And one of the things that she mentions in that book is growing up without a father. And so today we're going to be talking about a fatherless generation. And if this is something that you would be interested in learning more about, or you know someone that would be interested in hearing this topic, I want you to share this video with them. And today, once again, we have moms in the house. Mom, thank you so much for joining us. I continue to get wowed and amazed at the kind of response that you're receiving because of these videos and the many lives that you are touching. And I really just believe that this is only but the beginning of many great things that are going to happen through the Tim's Ministry webisodes. And so welcome once again to this platform. I think the first question that would be so important for us to really even ask is, why did you feel the need for us to talk about a fatherless generation, Mom?
From my side, I think just looking around our nation, our community, our city, most of people are raised without having a father at home, or even if the father are there, they are not effective in their lives. So I thought, since I was not raised with a father, I can share a little bit wisdom about my own life, about not having a father, what I had to go through, and how did it affect me.
I think it's so important, Mom, because I think as we're going to be speaking, there are a lot of people that also grew up without a father that are going to start to see maybe some of the things that they're struggling with, and they don't understand what the root cause is. So this is going to be one of those videos that I really believe a lot of people are going to watch and see themselves and find themselves in your story. You write in the book about actually growing up in a family where there was an absent father. Talk to us a little bit about that.
All right, Melo, I will take it from conception, because everything, it needs to have a foundation. So when my mother slept with my father and I was conceived, my father was not there after finding out that my mother is pregnant. Whether it was by choice or not, I do not know, but the truth is that he was not there. And I got to be raised by not even my parents from early age, because my mother, at their time, it was hectic for them to have a child as a teenager. She was a teenager at the age of 19 when she got me, and when I was 3 months old, she gave me to this family which were able to raise me, and I thank God for that, because they raised me in an environment, in a place which was secured, because there was a father and a mother. And as I told you that I was left there when I was 3 months old, so I thought I'm part of the family, so I didn't know they are not my parents until my mother came back when I was 5 years old, and to take me, because one of the family relatives wanted me to come and stay with her in Johannesburg. So going to Johannesburg, arriving at her place in Orlando East, in Soweto, and I had 3 brothers there, which were older than me. I was the only girl. And then there was no father still. So it affected me. You don't know that it affects you until you grow up.
Okay.
And you start acting differently, especially if you have friends which have that security of a father and the mother in the family, and it's like you are always an outcast because you are raised by a mother alone. And another thing which I found out is that it leaves a wound in your spirit. Why I'm saying that, I'm 41 this year, but I was still thinking, what if one day, even if we don't have a relationship with him, just to know him. So it does have a scar in a person's life to be raised without a father. And another thing which I've picked up from my own life is you feel loved by everybody, you want to be loved. But if I was raised by my father, because if he was there, he was going to assure me of his love for me, and he was going to take care of me, so I wouldn't look out for love from outside there. That's one of the struggles, which is not only me. I've seen most of the people who are raised by their single parents, they long for the father. It shows what is something that God has instilled in a person before the foundation of you in your mother's womb. God already put that people need to be raised by a mother and the father, and both of them, they have got different roles.
Wow. Mom, like we were talking just before the show about the role of a father in a girl child and the role of a father in a boy child's young life. Talk to us a bit about the role. You know, you're speaking about affirming us as young babies whilst we're still young. We want to be affirmed. We want to be told that we're princesses. We talk to us a lot more just about those different roles.
Okay, I will speak from my experience again. As I said earlier on, you long to be loved.
Yes.
And if you are raised with the father at home who always come home and assure you, Oti, you are beautiful, you are loved, you are well taken care of, you are protected as a young girl growing up. When you arrive in your teenage stage, you don't get misled because you already know, Oti, my father already told me these things. That's how I'm supposed to be going. That's how, if a guy, because in the teenage stages when the guys start coming like floods in your life, then if you know that my father has assured me, or if the guy says he loves me, he must come home, you will bring the guy home. But because you were not raised with that security and surety, you go out there and the person tells you, I love you. You love that person back. You don't even know the meaning of love. And you end up messing up your life at the early age because of not having a right foundation. That is what I've seen about girls. And another thing I've noticed about girls, they are closer at the early age to their fathers than their mothers. And through observation, I've already found what boys, when they are growing up, early age, like they want their mothers. They become mama's baby. Wherever the mother is, they want to be where mother is. And the mother too is got a role to play in a son's life. Like to tell a little man or young man, when you grow up, you treat your woman with respect. You take care of your woman. You protect your woman. You mold that young man, you instill the right foundation from the early age, so that when he becomes a teenager, you have already done your foundation as a mother.
Right.
And I've seen that when they come to their teenagers, most boys, they want their fathers.
Okay.
They just tend to say, you don't have, it's like a mother now, you've become rejected, but now it's not your time.
Okay.
You have played your time, now it's my father's time. They long for their fathers, they long to be trained to be a young man. And I believe it's how God has put things to be. Because you'll see the girls, they come to the mothers at the teenage stage and start building their relationship with their mothers and confiding to their mothers. Boys, they confide to their fathers and they share the stuff that they think the mother doesn't understand. They share with dad. So it is very important that mothers and fathers play their roles in their kids the way God has given us.
You know, we were also talking about how there's fathers sometimes in families,
Yes.
but it's as though there is no father in the family. So the father is present, but the father is absent. Talk to us a little bit about that. What are we doing wrong? What do you feel we're doing wrong as a generation, where we have so many fathers that are there, but they are still absent even though they're there?
Melo, what I can say in that regard, you will find I've got friends who have been raised by both parents, but they don't know their fathers. They're staying in the same house. The father comes back from work. If it's not a paper, it's sports. If it's not sports, it's liquor. So they don't communicate. I think what we long for as children, I believe children, that's what they long for. They long that communication, that attention. So the father, if he comes from work and sit in front of the TV and he doesn't want to be disturbed, he's not building no relationship, and there is no trust between him and his son or her daughter, because he doesn't have time for them. And one thing I've learned too, which is people, when they go through that, they tend to do the same thing when they grow up, because they model what is being shown in their own families, which that's how the mother is responsible to do everything, and the father is only there to watch TV and eat and go to bed. That's it, which is not the right foundation. You are breaking that child. You are making that child not to live according to the standard he's supposed to live when he's older enough, because he's going to do exactly the same thing you are doing. If you are like a father who comes and shout in the family, whether you are drunk or not, because others, they just have that anger, whether they are drunk or not, and they start shouting at everyone, and when you come in, there is already fear, what dad is around. There is no relationship, there is no foundation, there is nothing which you are building. And guess what? Exactly the way you have lived is the way the other generation is going to follow, because that's what you have modeled to them inside the house. If you are a father that pretense is going to go through the next generation. You will pretend because we have been doing it, you understand? So I believe the fathers needs to be what God called them to be. Be there for their wives and be there for their children, and build relationship. You can take your child. That's another thing, Melo, I told you earlier on, which is frustrating me, whereby fathers think by providing they have done a great thing. Buying me an expensive dress doesn't make it up for you not showing me love, because everybody longs to be loved. If you think when you buy clothes for your daughter or your son, you are showing love, it's your duty. You have to do that. You need to love that child. You need to affirm that child, because you know what? You are so special. I love you so much. you know, and I will protect you as a father. You are firm. I really believe that's what we long for, especially if you are not raised by a father in the house.
So communication is
Communication is very important. You can be a father. There are fathers who don't have money to spoil their kids, but that time, the quality time that they spend, people, we all know that we get born and will die. And your clothes, when you are dead, no one will buy them, but memories stay with you forever. So build memories so that your child may tell his own children one day, but you know what? My father was like this. You build, like even in the word of God, we hear what God was telling what meditate on this word and teach it to your children. So even the foundation that you build in your child's life, he can teach it to his own children and his own children to another you understand, it becomes a lifestyle of your family. And if the foundation are strong, believe me, no wind, no storm, nothing that will destroy that.
So then, growing up from a family where the father was absent, at what point in your life did you first encounter somebody that actually gave you an earthly father's love?
Okay, let me first say, as I told you, I was raised in Johannesburg. There were fathers in the street, but they were not playing the role. They will play the role of discipline. You know, in our time, you were a child of every person who stays in the street. You will respect an elder, whether you know that person or you don't know. Otherwise, you were going to get a hiding. So they were good in disciplining us. I knew that they played that role of disciplinary, but I never had that real relationship, what I was longing for. As I told you that I was longing to be loved, to be assured who is Cebisa. You understand that I'm a princess. Everyone loves to be told that you are a princess. So I went to the boarding school to finish up my high school at Umtata. That's when I got born again under the ministry of G.D. Shapley, House of Glory, that's the name of the church. Then I got born again there. And one day we were visiting him in his house with other saints. And there were always people in Bodi's house. We call him Bodi. There were always people in Bodi's house. So after prayer, when you get in, that's another thing I loved about that place. When you get in, everyone who's there is called to pray. When someone comes out, it was not like we just finished praying. If I decide 5 minutes after you got in that I want to leave, we are called again to come and pray. So it was like a house of prayer. After finishing praying, Bodi calls me. I go to him and I sat next to him. He told me, no, sit in my lap. And I'm like, serious? Then he said, yes, sit in my lap. And when he embraced me and my chest was laying on his, and my head was laying on his chest, what I longed for, I got. I longed to be loved. I longed to be embraced, and I got it from him. He